This is episode 101 of Comedy Guy with Tim and Lewis, and we have a special guest in the studio today. We're trying to talk to some people that we know and try and fill you in on some stories, and we've got a true character here. This is Paul Gunn, Scottish, been in Estonia since the dawn of time, almost since the Russians rolled in. Paul has been here. He's been a venue manager for a bunch of different bars that you know and you've been to. And we just thought we'd have a couple of drinks and have a chat with Paul. So first of all, Tim, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm rough. In a bad way, man.
Yeah, you're doing rough. All right, everyone came over.
Late night
At your place last night.
Yeah.
Okay. And Paul Gunn, thank you for coming in, mate.
Thanks very much. It's
he's fresh as fuck.
a pleasure.
Yeah, look at this guy.
I'm too fresh, you know. What do you?
Too fresh. Is it possible to be too fresh? Here we go. Deary me. So where are you living, Paul, now? What place?
Well, I'm down in the country in near Ollisfera.
Ollisfera, okay.
So, unfortunately, with the COVID and everything, I haven't been working for a year, but we're growing a lot of things there. We've got a massive greenhouse.
It's funny how like he's an Ollisfera and I'm in Paida. It's just two, like random Scottish guy, random Irish guy, just in the middle of fucking nowhere, just going.
Here we are. Guess this is it now. I don't know.
There we are. We're embedded.
Yeah,
totally.
exactly,
You know.
yeah.
That's right. You're the gorillas embedded in the forest. You're some sort
Calling
of
me gorilla, is it?
invert.
All right, man.
Gorillas in the mist.
Yeah.
And I haven't been up to Tallinn for a while. It seems like a real metropolis now, you know.
Yeah. You haven't been here since. Like,
And the people are a lot easier. I mean, this is like going to the country now, living in the country. It's like being back here in the 90s in a way, haven't you? You know, it was to have a conversation was like, you know, pulling teeth, you know. But
because no one down your way speaks English, right?
no, and even if they do, they don't want to engage in any conversation.
They're probably too afraid to be fair.
You know,
people in the country are always very kind of guarded about their English.
They seem to worry about their English, you know. But
Yeah,
you're just so happy if somebody can just have a conversation with you.
So
you
they're
know?
worried about their English, you're worried about your Estonian, and you're just cowering, looking at each other like,
Well, I'm too old now to pass worrying, you know. I'm past worrying, you know.
I'll get there someday.
So Paul, tell us about. So let's go back to the start.
Yeah.
I guess you where you grew up in Scotland and sort of how you came to this fine land of ours.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Paisley, but we lived in Govan in Glasgow.
You got to look down a piece of paper.
No.
Just like I was born in Paisley.
It's been a while.
It's been a year since I've had any conversation.
I imagine.
So my father was Tommy Gunn. And he was a good Catholic. He fired 6 shots, 1 boy and 5 girls.
Oh,
Okay, whoa.
I'm only a son of a gun.
Hey.
And they like a good drink in Glasgow, but we were actually brought up, the area was called Wine Alley. So that was, we're really pushing the limits
no one
there.
drank wine on Wine Alley.
The old Buckfast and all that, you know. The old Springbok. Springbok wine was popular at the time, you know. But they were all, my father was in the shipyards and everything, you know. And we stayed there till I was 5. And we lived in the usual tenement. It was 4 stories up with the cludgy, it was called, the outside toilet. That was for all 3-4 families on the floor.
Like an outhouse type of situation.
Outhouse in the stairway. And
So
this was very familiar in Glasgow. This was
A shared toilet, like some sort of.
a shared toilet, 4 families, and we're all big families.
Oh,
You
so
know,
there must be a lineup every.
Maybe eight
They're
kids.
all alcoholics as well, so the smell must have been shocking.
We didn't think about it. You know, you think people think, oh, that was a poor upbringing, but if you don't know anything else, it was fun. You know.
Yeah.
And I remember I was about 5 years old, and my father says, "Whatever you do, don't lock that door because there's people trying to get to work." You know. And but I locked the door one day and I couldn't unlock it, and then they were all banging the door. Let us into the toilet. We've got to get to work. And somebody had to climb over and open the door and get belted for that. You know.
Deary me. So what year is this?
So this is 1962. So 1967.
Okay, 67.
You know?
Okay, in Glasgow. Okay, so
in
things
Glasgow.
It was okay. So
this is why I'm wearing the top today. This is 1967. Celtic won the European Cup.
Okay.
The first British team to win
Because
the European Cup.
we're both Rangers fans.
You know, we'll have to finish this now. They'll never do that. You know?
No.
And no other team will do because all the players were born in a 30-mile radius.
Okay.
You're never going to get that again. Everybody's,
Yeah.
it's all too much money involved now, you know.
Yeah.
So that was that, you know. So, and then we moved up to, we were getting the overspill out of Glasgow. Glasgow had over 1 million population. Now it's like 500,000. So they built all these new towns, and then there was a job advertised. My mother was from Fort William, and she was working at the hospital, which was the Southern General, affectionately known as the Suffering General, especially when Rangers played Celtic, you know.
That's rough.
So she started a new life in the Highlands. We're paying great money. You get a free house and work in this pulp and paper mill. And front and back garden, so everybody moved up there, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Is that why Fort William's so rough at the moment? It's all
well, it was all Glasgow. It was all
people,
all the kickouts from Glasgow, you know, the overspill, you know, get them out.
Because Fort William is a weird one, because it's like, you have the Highlands, right? It's, you know, it's country people, farms. And then you have Fort William, which is just rough.
As this center, like a urban, almost urban
it's like,
center.
it's the capital of, what's the name?
Well, it's
the
the
Highlands,
capital
right?
Highlands, the outdoor capital of the Highlands, because they have the ski slope and the Ben Nevis. And it's the highest mountain in the UK, you know.
So was it popular because of this pulp mill? That was the industry
it was already
back
popular.
in the day.
It was for the hikers. It's the highest mountain in Britain, you know. And hopefully in the future I can say it's the highest mountain in Scotland, but not part of the Britain. And then the pulp and paper mill, that was massive. That was just, you know, so everybody moved up there.
That was the main employer for a long time.
Yeah.
And now when did that shut down? Or when it shut down?
Well, it shouldn't have started that. It was a chemical pulping method, which was already going out of date then. But so really they were trying to just get everybody out of Glasgow for you know. But people get a good 20 years and redundancy.
Okay.
And now you're lucky to get anything, you know.
Yeah.
So it was good, steady employment.
But you lived like there, like, because I thought you grew up in Ullapool. I thought that's what you told me years ago.
No. I've been up there cycling and.
Okay.
But Fort William.
Fort William, yeah.
Okay.
So-
Did you?
so
what did you do after school? How did you support yourself?
Well, life was fine till you know.
Till he came here.
No, even 12-year-old, my mother decided that I want a priest in the family, and I had no ambitions to be a priest or anything, you know. So, but she says, "I've paid the money and you're going." So I was off to this junior seminary at 12-year-old, 8 priests, 8 nuns, and 120 boys. So I was determined to, you know, get out of there as quick as I could. Other ones were sending their boys there for an education and whatever, you know. Because out of 120 boys, only one became a priest, and he was taken away as well. You know?
Okay, they're all.
So I'm going on the bus at 12 to head for this place in Port Glasgow, St Vincent's College, Langbank. And so I've got time to kill. So I walked around Glasgow, and then I seen Tam Shepherd's Joke Shop. And I thought, okay, so this is me turning into a terrorist. So I got a pile of stink bombs and other such items from the jokes. I don't think you can buy these things now. Too much health and safety. Because they used to clear a whole building, one little glass vial.
Yeah, they were made of actual glass as well, and you had to
and woof, for days. You know? You couldn't get the smell away. So I was setting off these in my campaign to get out of the preschool, you know. And it was like Tom Brown school days, and they had first and second years, and the second years were always bullying the first years because that's what happened to them the year previous, you know. And there was all silence bells and all the rest, and so many rules, you know, just to keep me disciplined, and you know. And so I was setting off the stink bombs, and you know, they were like, "What's going on here?" Nobody could figure it out, you know. And
but if you wanted to get kicked out, surely you would have said, "Oh, that was me."
Well, they found out, and I did. They stuck me in the library, but this was there was a bell going for class one day, so I came out the toilet, and then I jumped over the grass. You weren't supposed to touch the grass, you know. This was a major offence for some reason, you know. It was all the silly rules, you know, just to play with your head, you know. And then the prefect's standing there. He stopped me, and he goes, "You're reported." I says, "What for?" He says, "Violation of the airspace over the grass." This is a 13-year-old talking to a 12-year-old. I went, "What?" And then the bell stopped for class. He says, "You're late for class as well, so that's you reported again." I went, "What?" And that meant all your free time was done writing lines. It was fancy proverbs, and I think I set a new record for lines, and it had to be in italic writing. "Manners maketh the man, not impudence." So all my free time was spent doing this, and I was getting tired of this, you know. And I went, he says, "You arguing me, that's you reported again." So every time he's reporting me, the lines are getting doubled, you know. So I'm thinking, all my free time's disappeared doing lines. So I just grabbed him. I could hear them saying prayers in the class. So I've just grabbed him. I was always good at spelling and everything. I says, violation of the airspace over the grass. I says, I bet you don't even know how to spell it. Come here. So I dragged him on the grass and I started hitting him. I went, V-I-O. So the next thing, all I seen was this flying cassock. The two priests came down. They heard us. Everybody was saying prayers and they heard me hitting this prefect, And they grabbed me and they threw me in the library. So this is, afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm locked up in the library. Okay. So you're 12-year-old, you're hungry all the time. So the first night wasn't so bad. So nobody's coming to see me. Nights came, I'm still in the library. Next day, nobody's coming till 4:30. Then the priest comes in, locks the door, a cup of sweet tea. He said, come on, admit you were sorry. Then he wanted to start wrestling. And this priest was known for his wrestling. But luckily I was quite fit and I managed to get away from it, And,
Wait. Spare the metaphors. For me here.
Well, he was known for wrestling.
It started with wrestling. It started with wrestling.
So he would come in and manhandle you under the guise of wrestling.
Yeah.
And the implication, if I haven't missed it here, is that he wanted to be putting his hands all over you.
Yeah. And it was only later on that some boys came out with some problems they had. But at the time, you're 12-year-old, you're not quite getting it.
Okay, yeah. Back then.
You've never heard about the Catholic Church, Lewis?
The Catholic Church of the
That's just it's part of the job.
Yeah, right. I'm just trying to break it down how it actually... Because everyone knows the stereotype, right?
It's not a fucking
stereotype
means it's not true.
No, it does. Absolutely, stereotype can mean something's true.
Well,
absolutely.
It's like overdone type of...
Sure. No, it's real. But like, how does it actually happen? And then you get locked up for a day and a half.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if I hadn't, got myself out of that situation, and that's a lot of boys didn't.
Yeah.
Where would that lead to? And it seemed that it could lead a bit further, So I got myself out of that, and I kept my distance. I says, I'm not sorry. I got annoyed with him. He says, okay, you're in for another night. So this is me. I've only had a cup of sweet tea in about 2.5 days because we're into the next day again. So I'm famished. 12-year-old, always had loads of energy, and I thought, what can I eat in the library, So I start, my 12-year-old brain, rice paper. People eat rice paper. So I'm getting books about China out, thinking there's going to be, they're writing in rice paper, And I'm ripping out, it's all glossy. I says, they don't taste very good, And I'm ripping out other books. No, that's not too bad. Maybe that's rice paper. And then so the priest comes in the next day. So I'm absolutely famished. And I said, look, okay, I'm sorry. There's only, 2.5 days with no food. And he says, what's going on here? You've seen all the books lying about, I says, well, you made me so hungry, I started eating the books. He says, what? Get out of here. He says, do you know what books are in here? I says, what? He says, books from Mary Queen of Scots times, other ones James VI's time, all worth a fortune, And we're worried that I was going to destroy all these, going to eat them all, Just get out.
He did more damage than the priest did to the children.
They went, get him out of here, so they never put us in the library again, He's going to eat all our artifacts,
Yeah. So that's how you got out.
So that was, finally, I still had to break a few more rules. And then I thought, how did I get my own back? I had no food for 2.5 days. So I set my mind to wake up at 2 a.m. and you had to sneak up. There was prefects at the door and they never oiled the doors, the dormitory doors,
They only oiled the children.
So you had to be quick with it. And then I went down to the refectory where all the breakfast was set up. And it's all the little packets of Cocoa Krispies and puffer rice and all that. So I downed about 4 of them, and I started eating bread and everything. It was laid out and I switched all the names for the morning. So, and I went back up to bed. Nobody was any the wiser till we came down for the breakfast in the morning. And then I had all my friends. I put all my friends at the table. You're supposed to do these table rotations every week, so you meet everybody,
Yeah, okay.
And the priest came down, and there was so much confusion. And who's been eating the cereals? There's a half of cereals are missing in this table, and nobody knew. And that just caused utter confusion with us,
Some sort of Goldilocks.
So it was like a mini terrorist.
There's so many things about that story that wouldn't happen today, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. This is the thing. This is gone forever. That kind of thing,
Yeah.
Thankfully,
the
in many ways.
Thing, the joke shop.
Yeah.
That's
in many ways.
Yeah. Joke shops were massive back in the day.
I saw one in an episode of Pyro the other day. I was like, oh, jeez, that is all like.
And they used to sell like fake cigarettes. Remember that?
Yeah, fake
where
cigarettes.
you'd suck in and the tip would light up and shit, and they were battery powered. And
for kids, smoking monkeys. The smoking monkeys used to get.
Yeah.
I get thrown off the train once in Glasgow. This little smoking monkey, and it just you put it there and it just puffs away. Yeah. But it gives off such a stench, whatever the material was.
Used to be able to buy these. I have to be politically incorrect by saying this.
Sorry,
but they were called nigger heads, where it was a method of keeping coins. It would be a really stereotypical black person, right? With big red lips and big eyes, and they'd have their hand out like that, and you put a coin in their hand and.
They'd eat it.
They'd eat it.
Oh, okay, like
a piggy bank.
Those piggy bank things, yeah.
But we just called them nigger heads. Like, oh man, you gotta empty your nigger head, man. All right, I'll do it tomorrow.
I went out to Thailand like 4 years ago, and I thought, well, my friend he's married to a Thai woman there, you know. He has a bar, and I thought, what could I bring the Thais? So I went into the joke shop. I revisited after so many years, and I said, spiders. Well, they eat spiders over there. Worms. The Thais would just laugh at that and eat them, you know. Yeah. But I found these the pooping penguins. It was a penguin. It's like chocolate drops, and you just feed it, and then it walks. You wind it up, and it just poops as it walks along, you know. And the Thais, because of a childlike sense of humour, they were like, oh, and anything to do with, you know, shit and piss. The Thais love it, you know.
Jesus Christ.
What a people.
You know?
What a nation.
That's right.
You know, and
Lady
they were
boys,
just
piss,
on the
shit.
floor.
Fucking hell.
They were on the floor with these pooping penguins, you know.
I love it. You're the hit.
And this thing about the seminary, it was all control, and we used to get we could bring books back, and that was the time Jaws came out. Peter Benchley, you know, Jaws.
Oh, Jaws.
Jaws,
yeah,
the
movie Jaws. Yeah,
and so straight away, this is the type of books the priests were recommending. You know, we read Agatha Christie and Alison MacLean and all that, and everything else they would look at. So Jaws, this is the kind of thing we don't want to see here. And he starts ripping out chapter 12, the whole chapter 12. Page 94, page 106, he's ripped a third of the book out, you know. And chapter 12's like, the guy's having a sexy dream or something. This is how he's ripped this out. But it's an integral part of the book because there's new characters introduced. So, and he threw it back at me. This is what we don't want, you know. Yeah. So this was the, you know, indoctrination we had, you know.
It wasn't questioned back then. It was just
not
what
at all.
they did.
No, they were your guardians, right, you know. You couldn't complain. And then your letters, you're supposed to write a letter home every week. So I'm saying, get me out of here, and I hate this, and rip it up. You better write something good. So you had to just write about the weather, and, you know, we played football.
I mean, even when I was a kid, like I went to, not a seminary, but it was called a Christian Brother School, where the school was run by the church, and there was a priest as a headmaster and stuff. And this shit would happen to us as well. Like you wouldn't get detention. You'd be just thrown into a room and left there until you admitted that you're wrong and please God forgive me and all that shit.
Wow.
Yeah, they used to like beat us. Not beat us, but they would make, if you, you know, some kids deserved it. But if you did something bad, they'd make you put your hands on the table, and they'd take the sharp end of a ruler and just right down on your knuckles.
A caning, yeah, sure.
But with the sharp end of a ruler right across your knuckles.
Right, that's,
yeah.
I know what that is.
They broke a few fingers in the day, you know. Yeah. And not so long ago. I mean, that's relatively short time ago.
This 20 years ago from
you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, did I ever get corporal punishment at school? I think my parents hit me a couple times.
They didn't hit you enough, frankly.
Yeah, it should have been much more. I don't know if they hit me with something a couple times, but I don't think it ever happened at the school, even though I went to a Christian school. But, okay, Australia in the fucking, whatever, early
You were all convicts anyway.
It was all like, So that whole...
I remember my last day of primary school. Before I went to the seminary, I got 6 of the belt. Scotland was the last place to get rid of the belt in Europe. Yeah?
The belt?
The belt.
Oh, yeah, pull the belt out and give him a whack.
And it was a thick special toys for...
it was made for
specifically for on your hands, you know. And the worst thing you could do is if you came out the toilet and your hands were still wet, that was sore. You know? But I was so happy. Yeah, it's the last day of school, and I'm jumping up, and I touched the ceiling, you know, these little ceiling panels.
Okay, yeah.
They're that flimsy, and I knocked one, you know, and the headmaster's walking, come here, you know, you haven't left yet, get your hands out, 6 of the bell.
You got one more out of you.
You know, unbelievable, you know. They were all maniacs, you know, these teachers, you know. So eventually I managed to escape from the seminary and went to, Fort William.
Yeah. Oh, this was down in
This was
Glasgow?
in Glasgow,
Okay.
outside Glasgow. It was Port Glasgow.
Fort William
Bank.
must have seemed like a paradise then in comparison.
It was, it was bliss, So, but it messed up my education because I was always like top of the class in the primary school and all that, And then I went to this preschool where I should have had a better education, but I just didn't want to be there, and it messed us up,
Yeah.
So I thought I done okay at the high school. Then I was put into the high school, and and I thought, but it wasn't so good. But I thought I need to get good at something. So I was interested in sport. So I started the running and the football, and I've always had a lot of energy. So I had to get rid of that, and So I ended up running for Scotland, the North of Scotland cross-country champion. I was captain of the North of Scotland football team. And my two friends played for Scotland, Duncan Shearer and John McGinley. But
so by football there, just want to say, you mean soccer?
Soccer.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wasn't sure. We're talking about maybe some rugby. I don't know. Could have been playing rugby up there, maybe. I understand. No.
Football is football.
Football is
Soccer
football.
is-
Okay.
Football's football, So there was a good story about that. We had we ran the West Highland Way, which is 100 miles. It's from Glasgow to Fort William. It's quite a good walk, a good hike. It's a rough terrain.
It's about three hours driving.
Jesus.
It's a fantastic pub crawl. If you do it 5 days, 7 days, it's a fantastic pub crawl.
Yep.
And but we started in George Square. 3 teams: Lochaber from Fort William, Shettleston and Cambuslang. No, Shettleston and Clydebank, all competing. So it was 8 of us in a relay. So we had a minibus. So the first one set off 6 in, he's away. We go to the next checkpoint, right? Change, next one. So 100 miles. We've done it about under 11 hours. In rough terrain, so that was good. And then it just happened to be the annual dinner dance of Lochaber Athletic Club.
Okay.
So we had a big soiree, and and at that time I had a little 125 motorbike, Kawasaki job, So we were enjoying the dinner dance, and then I thought, let's go to another party, So I've got this guy in the back, and he's a big afro. So I thought, you don't need a helmet. We were pissed up. So, and I thought, but we're going through Fort William, then the police come, So they're chasing us. So I thought, I'll go down this little road and, get away from them, And it just happened, we hit some ice and I get done for that, And no insurance and drunk driving and all this, So this is me about 17, Just mad,
Yeah.
So the next thing, we had the big local paper, which was huge. I mean, those days, the papers are small now compared to those days.
No, they're physically huge.
Physically huge.
Physically
I mean, you
massive.
had to fold them to read them. And the thing was you needed to read it on a kitchen floor, basically, if you wanted to see it all, So it was the Highland News, it was called. So on the front page, I'm the court news. And Fort William Sheriff Court were clamping down on all these youngsters drink driving and no insurance. We're going to go heavy on them and named and shamed. Paul Gunn, blah, 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 this guy, And so I'm only 17, so this was heavy. £400 fine, first offence, and a 1.5 years ban. That was heavy,
Yeah.
So we're not messing about. We've had enough of these youngsters running wild, And on the back page, now I've got half a page dedicated to me. Local
And the
youth.
sports
In the sports page. Local youth, Paul Gunn. He's beaten everybody. He's joined the Scottish national team for cross country. He's unbelievable. And people are going, can this be the same guy? How can this be the same guy? So I've always had this kind of thing going on, the good and the bad, And that paper that week typified it,
Yeah, right. That's the metaphor.
That can't be the same guy.
Yeah, it's definitely no. I'm the football player guy. I'm the runner guy.
He's getting pissed
I'm the
up,
runner.
and then he's and then
Sorry,
he's a
man.
hero in the back page, So
So that's most sports people back
unbelievable,
in the day. Like they were all fucking pissheads,
Yeah. So how did you after school? After that was all done.
And after that, I just walked across the road to the pulp and paper mill. This was the thing then. The jobs
what
are
you
plenty.
did. Yeah.
Paid good money. And then if I get fed up with that, I walked across the road again to the sawmill. It was tons of jobs,
So how did you go from like pulp mill, sawmill to? Because you started working in hotels in Oban, right?
Ballachulish and Oban. I
you worked in Ballachulish
haven't
as well?
spent, haven't spent all my entirety here. I was back in Scotland a couple of times. And those times I'd be working in Oban in a hotel or whatever, you know.
Oh, so when after you came here in the 90s,
after I came
go
here,
back to Scotland?
I've been back a few times, you know, between bars.
Yeah, okay.
I think I've opened about 6 bars, and then between them, I'd be back in Scotland, and you know.
So did you start your bar work, your hospitality work
I started
here?
my bar work. Started in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
And Ballyhoolish Hotel was one of those places, you know. And Morrow Hotel and Summer Season, and you know.
Yeah.
So I've done a bit of that.
I think Ballyhoolish Hotel's gone now, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I was only there a year and a half ago, and that little village is gone.
Yeah.
You know, there's one pub there. And that's it. Yeah.
So my other claim to fame was I was on the Highlander movie.
Okay.
1986, the original Queen soundtrack.
You've seen Highlander,
A classic, sure.
The classic. The first one was the best. The rest don't match up. You know, Sean Connery, Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So they needed all the extras from Fort William, all the unemployed, you know. So they needed us for 2 weeks. It was £25 a day and all the food you could eat. So it was fine. It was great, you know.
Beauty.
But you need to be super fast on the video to catch me. There's a market scene. And there's also a tavern scene. In the tavern scene, they gave us the alcohol-free beer, which was Barbican, you know. And he was trying to make it realistic. And we're saying, well, give us the real stuff, and we'll the fight scene, we'll make it realistic, you know.
Yeah.
Fill us full of whiskey, you know. But Sean Connery, certain people in life have a fantastic presence. You feel a presence of them, you know. And Sean Connery was one of those. So I had the market scene. So it's busy. There's horses coming from one way, there's people this way, and it's all hectic. And you've got your little script. This woman's right, you go now, and don't go past the second hut. Whatever you do, you know. And then Sean Connery was supposed to push me out the way. Okay. And I've got these twigs. It's 12th century Scotland. I'm a peasant, you know. So not a lot's changed, you know. So we're waiting for this, and there's like 10 takes for this, you know. There's always somebody messing it up. The director shouting, stop, get that bloody Rolex watch off. This is supposed to be 12th century Scotland. People are forgetting their jewellery and stuff, you know. So this is the 10th take through this puddle. And then it's going well. It's coming up at the end of the scene. And the director's shouting, you with the twigs, looking good. So this is my claim to fame, you know. I didn't get my name on the movie, but you with the twigs, you know. So I thought, okay, you know, keep your head down, you know. And I'm at the second hut, and Sean Connery's not past me yet. I'm thinking, well, he's supposed to be pushing me out the way, you know, because I've been told I can fall down or do what I want when he pushes me. No, he's not. And then the director shouting, you with the twigs, keep moving, what are you doing? And he's like, cut. And he's come over to me and he's going, what are you doing? We nearly had that. You're the last of the scene, you know. I says, it's not my fault. You know, what do you mean it's not your fault? And the next thing, who comes over? What seems to be the problem here, you know? I says, Sean, you want to speak to the director? I says, you're the problem. Oh, he says, well, actually, yes. He says, because you know what the problem is? He says, they're giving me far too good-looking leading ladies. He says, I forgot where I was.
Oh, so smooth.
So the director went, okay, everybody take a break, you know. I says, thanks, Sean, for standing up for me there. You took the blame. That was good, you know. I says, there's only one other problem. He says, what's that? I says, you're getting $1 million for this, and I'm getting £25 a day, and you're making all the mistakes. He says, very good. I'm away to my caravan. I'll see you.
So if we watch Highlander, we'll see it.
If you're super fast with the pause button.
Okay.
We'll go frame by frame. And
we'll go there. We'll see. Push the shit out of the way. That's great.
So that was me. That was my claims to fame, you know. That was the back home, you know.
So eventually you start working in pubs.
So I worked in pubs and hotels and all that.
Okay.
You know.
It seems like. So the factory thing wasn't for you? Like you were doing it a bit?
Factory, I didn't mind. Yeah, I didn't mind. You know, but the pub game was more interesting, you know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, and then I got a phone call from my friend who was the finance director with Coca-Cola in Tallinn. Now this Scottish guy, Dermot Strain, although his mother's from Letterkenny in Donegal, you know,
in Ireland.
In Ireland, and so he phones. He says, "Go over here. I'm in Tallinn." He says, "You know, women drink, you know."
And this was in 90.
This was in 94.
94.
I says, "I'll come for a holiday."
So that's 3 years after independence, isn't it?
It was about 90.
So nothing had changed really from 91 to 94. There was nothing happening, you know, till the big businesses come in.
Right.
Coke was coming in, other big firms.
Sure, because it's not it's 91. It's August, end of 91, where it all kind of goes down. Right. It doesn't instantly happen straight after. It's just a waste.
Because the Soviets didn't even leave until like 93 or something, right?
So there's that sort of thing happening as well. And also...
Even 94, it was still remnants.
Right. And as much as I understand, you're still... Like, when the vacuum left by the Soviets means you try something, there's gangsters. I mean, if there's no credible police force, then you're going to get the criminal element running things, which is an impediment to business. So I can totally imagine that things weren't rolling until 95.
It was how to get there, because it wasn't really on the travel map.
Yeah.
You know, so the only flight I could find was via Copenhagen. It was, in 94, it was £500. It was only a business flight that went to Tallinn from Copenhagen. So I had to do that way, you know.
Oh. No Ryanair back then.
No Ryanair, you know, no. And my last job was in pedestrianising Fort William High Street. So I was on that for about 6 months. So I had money saved up. We're working 6 days, 12 hours a day. So I had money saved up. So, and I didn't tell all the guys where I was going. So
your job was to like put the bricks down on the floor.
We were digging up, finding out where the pipes were leading.
I have fallen down that street drunk many a time.
Because
Thanks, Paul.
They lost, they lost all the plans for Fort William.
Yeah.
So they had to. It was guesswork where the pipes were, you know, and cables. Yeah. So the next thing you'd hear, they were all digging away, and next thing there'd be a big flash, and the pick would just fly over the building, you know. Right. They're saying, take it easy because there's a transatlantic cable, you know.
Yeah, right.
And if you hit that, we're out of business completely, you know. So I was on that job, and then they were starting to put the paving stones down, you know. And so I'm leaving, I've got my case, I'm heading for the bus, and the guys are going, where are you going, Paul? Where are you going? You finished? I says, yeah. And the machines are going, and I'm shouting over the machines. I'm going, I'm off to Estonia. Oh, my brother stays in Melbourne. I'll give you his address. I says, no, Estonia. Yeah. I've got my sister's in Sydney. So I said, I need to catch the bus, you know. So there's some people think I headed to Australia, you know. And then if you says to people, where are you going? Tallinn. Where's that? I says, the Baltics. Oh, they're always fighting over there. They were getting their Balkans mixed up with their Baltics.
Yeah.
You know? Nobody knew anything.
I mean, even when I came here years ago, like, you tell people back home, I live in Estonia now, and they're like, oh yeah, that's down by by Iraq or something, isn't it? Yeah, man, it's by Iraq. Yeah,
it was like the map of the world with their eyes shut, just putting a pin somewhere, you know, Estonia.
Yeah.
So you're able to fly into Tallinn at least.
So able to fly into Tallinn, and my friend, the Coca-Cola guy, he met me, you know, and then the airport was just like an old bus stop. Everything was broken. The drive in. It was June. It was a really hot day, but everything was so drab. You know, everything was totally, all that road down from the airport, everything was crumbling. You know, and all you seen was ladders, and the police in ladders, and then you see these BMWs, Mercedes, and that's all the mafia boys. You know, and it was them and us. It was, you know, ladders and BMWs. Yeah. That was your lot. You know,
that was it. So your friend had been here for a while, and he's a distributor.
He'd settled in, and he arrived in February in Tallinn.
Okay.
And he'd heard it was cold, and Coca-Cola look after you. You know, don't worry, we've got you a good apartment. He says, we'll actually put it was in Kent, Manny, where the American embassy is now. You know, he says, don't worry, we'll put a sauna in for you. You know, not realising the blocks, the electrics, and the problems. You know, but Coke done that. You know, so he was in his apartment, and every morning 6 o'clock he put the timer on, and then he headed to Coke, and then he was back at 6 at night. And then that was fine, you know, got him through the winter. And there's people putting leaflets under his door all the time. They were piling up, but it was all in Russian and Estonian, so he didn't bother, you know. And then it was about 3 months he's in this apartment, and these leaflets are piling up. And then he goes to the neighbour. She could speak some English. And he goes, I want to invite you all to a little party, you know. I haven't had time, he says, but I want to invite all the neighbours to, you know, come on in. Oh, that's very nice of you. Yeah. He says, I've even got a sauna. And I went, what? And all the neighbours, it's you. You're taking all our power away every day. So he was put the sauna in.
He would heat it during the day.
He would put it on. It's on a timer. He's going to work at 6 in the morning. He's putting a switch on, and it's taking all the power. Nobody could use their washing machines or anything. They're going, what's happened? They called so many electricians in. They couldn't figure it out till he invited them all in for a sauna. And they were ready to attack him. You know, it was like, we've had months of this. We haven't had no power. We didn't know where it was coming from. You know, and he's went, oh, sorry.
So what did you do when you came then? Like, what was your job here?
So I seen there was a couple of other Scottish guys here, you know. So I ended up going to meet them. And the Nimeta Baar, I heard, go and see this Scottish guy in the Nimeta Baar, which was Harju Coffee. It was originally there, and it was quite a popular coffee shop. And the windows were the original windows are still there, but they had these depressing, dreary, heavy, grey and brown Russian curtains everywhere, you know. And any apartments you went into here, it was grey, dark grey and brown. It was depressing, you know. So they had them. So I went to see him in June. It's blinding light outside. And I went in and I walked in and I went, "Hello, Davey." He says, "I'm over here." I couldn't see him. It was such a fog. The place was busy. Everybody was smoking, you know, and there's no light in the place, you know. So he says, "I'll get you a beer." So we'll sit down over there. So I'm sitting at this table. And the next thing, I'm beginning to see what's happening, you know. Next thing I feel this thing crawling over the table and over my hand. I went, "What's that?" And my eyes were beginning to adjust. It's a cockroach. Jesus. You know, they were everywhere, you know. And I went, and there's another one. And David came back, "Yeah, I'm going to get the keys for this. We're going to make a bar here, you know." I says, "You've got a real problem." He says, "What?" I says, "The cockroaches." "Don't worry," he says. "We've got a Scottish guy coming over and he's going to throw some new powder at them." Because the problem is they're just throwing this powder, this Russian powder, they become immune to it. They're just eating this stuff. He says, "We're going to bring some new stuff and they'll knock them out." So eventually, before we opened, this guy came over and he threw some new poison down, you know. And they did. They left. They all packed their suitcases and left. And it was funny because there was an offices above, and we never heard anything. And about a week later, this girl came down and we were still doing the bar, getting the bar ready. And she came down in a panic. She says, "Oh, we're having a serious problem." I said, "What's up? Is someone attacking you?" She says, No, so many cockroaches we have, you know. She said, "Have you got a problem down here?" I says, "No, we haven't seen any." You know, they'd all packed their bags and went upstairs. I says, "But we know a guy who's got good poison." So this is how he started the pest control business, you know. So we're all, "Really? Oh, that'd be great." So we sent him up there, you know.
That's funny.
So is he still here?
He comes and goes, you know. Comes and goes, you know.
So he found the place, the Hardy Coffee. And it was just that, and then he decided, okay, I'm going to rent this space and turn it into a bar.
And do a bar, you know.
Okay. So you got to meet this bloke.
So this was David Coots, and he was a bit of an Arthur Daly, you know. A kind of likeable rogue, you know, but he got things going, you know. I think
it would have had to be back then. I mean, you can't just be someone who does the rules and does the procedure in 94 in Tallinn. Yeah.
So he says, he had a little shop round the corner from Suircarria, just near Hollywood was the Celtic corner. But it was all stuff from Scotland, all tins of, you know, soup and haggis and all this.
That's so bizarre, isn't it?
You know,
in 94, was anyone buying?
Scotland?
No, there was nobody in the shop. Yeah. They only came in for bread and milk, you know, because that's all they could afford. Outside, there was people selling bananas. It was like the war had just ended. You know, in the UK, I remember the Second World War, people still couldn't get bananas till the 50s. And this was like, I'm watching the Azerbaijanis and Armenians, bananas, we have bananas. Like, it was exciting, you know. And there was bananas. It was just like the war had ended, you know, the Russians had left and they're selling bananas. Nobody had any money. There was nothing in the shops, you know, basically, you know. Because I went to a shop, I was staying near Maggie, and I went to this shop and I thought, well, if I'm here, it's not your supermarkets now where you just go in and pick what you want. You had to meet somebody at the counter, you know. So I went into the local shop, and there was a big queue of women in, and nobody's really, they're all looking at the meat. And I thought, I fancy a bit of meat. And then I'm looking at the meat, everything was smoked. And the next thing, this big cockroach walked over the meat, and I went, no, I'm off the meat now, you know. I've seen enough cockroaches in the bar because the coffee shop had 4 big ovens at the back. And we dismantled the ovens. I opened up the top. It was like hundreds of cockroaches. I went, Jesus, you know. So I'm seeing cockroaches everywhere, even in the apartments and all that, you know. It was a problem. The Russians used to, when you got a new apartment, the Russians used to bring a cockroach in a matchbox. That was a good luck gift for some strange reason. So the place was infested, you know. So I'm in the shop, seeing this cockroach. I said, okay. And then what else can I eat then, you know? Oh, there's cornflakes. So I've said to the woman, just pointed the cornflakes. She's brought the cornflakes down. Then she brings out the abacus. The abacus, I thought that was like ancient Egypt or something, or, you know. I'd never seen an abacus, you know. I got taught about it in history. And the woman, she's just like battering with this abacus. And I says, I need milk for this. she's not quite understanding, but I get this, it's kefir.
Okay.
She's giving me kefir, and I thought, okay, that must be for that, you know. Then she, with the abacus, it's going forever, you know. And then I handed a 100 eek note, 100 kroon note, which was worth about £4. But everybody's like, now everybody's turned to watch me. They'd never seen a 100 kroon note in this shop. Because the 1 kroon note, there was 100 cents to the 1 kroon note. So 100 kroon note's £4. You can imagine what 1 cent is.
Yeah.
100 cents to 1 kroon, you know. So they were like, there were only, all these old folk just had these little coins, you know. And she went, the security guys come over. He says, this is too much for the shop, you know. And
the shop had security guys.
Shop had security, yeah. I mean, it was still, everybody had guns and all the rest of it. There was guns everywhere, you know. Yeah. And so I says, well, I better buy some. She says, I've no change, you know. So I says, okay, I'll take a few other things. And another few boxes of cornflakes then, and, you know, kefir. So that was it. I says, look, just keep the change. And they were like, wow, it's only £4, but this was like blowing their heads away with this, you know.
I wonder how much a house would have been back then.
Oh, it was nothing. This is one of my huge regrets. I had money and we should have brought property, you know. But we were just in a bubble. We were just having so much fun, and this is a huge regret now, you know.
I mean, even 7 years ago, a house.
Yeah, even 10.
You know, the prices now are astronomical here, you know. So I get back to the apartment and I'm going, okay, cornflakes, yes. And I'm going with the milk and I'm going, she's gave us some old milk, you know. The kefir, I didn't understand this, you know. I went, bugger. So I just had to eat the cornflakes dry, you know. That was my first experience in the shop, you know. Now I'm growing my own food, you know, just to be on the safe side, you know.
So Nimeta back then, like, what was the, because it sounds like it was a busy coffee shop. How do you cover it?
It was one of the most popular.
Was there any pushback to, like, opening up this weird bar?
Yeah. So first of all, David says, well, I want to get this going, but he says, the workers are all drinking here. Everybody's drinking, you know. So I says, well, give us a case of beer every morning. I'll go round to the bar and I'll take care of the labourers. So I says, right, sit them down. And we had 2 fantastic architects because they made a great job of the bar, you know. They were 2 new up-and-coming architects. And I says, you explain to them. They were translating for me. I says, look, you have a beer now, no vodka, you get sent home, any hard stuff, but I'll show you how to work. And I says, and give them work for 2 days ahead. Don't leave them, we're on a time schedule here, you know. So I took care of them, and this is how you do it. So no problem with that, you know. So the repairs are going well. We've got about a week to go, and I noticed there was different people looking in all the time, all dodgy characters, all you know, coming in, having a look, and you know, okay. Then one day, with a few days to go, these 4 guys come in. It was like something out of a B movie, and they had the suits on, and then I seen out the corner of my eye, Davy's just jumped in the cupboard. And I'm going, oh, what's this? And the 4 guys come in, where is your boss? I says, well, I was going to say he's in the cupboard. I thought, no, I says, well, you can speak to me. I says, I can tell him, you know. Okay, you have security. I says, we're thinking about our own security. Huh. And they all went in unison. It was like a B movie. They all showed me the guns. Maybe you think again, you know. And then one went off to the window. And then, what is this? This, in English, what? I says, window. Da. Zavtra, need window. Zavtra, need window. You understand? I says, yeah, I get the message, you know. Okay, see you Zavtra, tomorrow. So the next thing, Davy comes out. Are they away yet? He says, have they gone? I says, you knew they were coming, Davy, and you never told me. I says, you want to give me some, you know, heads up on what's happening, you know? He says, don't worry, we're going to speak to the top boy tomorrow. We're going to sort all this out, you know? Because there was so many groups merging. There was the Azerbaijani mafia, the Armenian mafia, the Russian mafia, there was some Estonian mafia. They're all wanting their fingers in the pie here, you know? But at the time you needed them, the police were useless. The police were so corrupt. You know, now it's a great police force, but the police were so corrupt. I mean, if I went for a drive and I was speeding, the police stopped me one time. I'm out in the country and passport, everything was passport, you know. And I went, okay. And I put 200 crowns in, you know, so £8. And the guy went away, passport back, no money, you know. Okay, you go now. you know. So I'm heading off. Okay, it's as easy as that, you know. And the next thing he stops me again. I says, he's wanting more money. And no. He says, you don't go this road. Go this other road. You know? I says, why? He says, because more police, then you pay more. So he was been very thankful. He was very, very nice in a way, in his own way, you know. He was saving me some money going the other road, you know.
Fuck, you know.
Oh my God.
And this thing about jaywalking, it was like an American thing, but in the UK we don't carry our passports about or anything.
Yeah,
you know, it's
sure.
still not. It's still a big thing. But nobody wants ID cards in the UK or anything, you know. So I just this was the main road near Viru Hotel. So I crossed the road. There's no cars coming. Next thing, these two police came. Passport. I went, what for? You crossed the road, the wrong place. You know, I says, there's no cars. No, there's a place for crossing, you know, passport. And I says, I don't have my passport because I leave it in the apartment, you know. I don't carry a passport about, you know.
Does.
And he says, oh, you come with us then. So they walked me to the police station, which is still there now, and, you know, the main drag, you know. And then the next thing, they've locked me up. I went, what's going on, you know? Oh, very serious offence, very bad. And they couldn't have any English translators then, you know. You are a big trouble. You crossed the road, the wrong place. I went, what's you know, such a big deal, you know. You stay here, you know. And then so I left me sweat, you know, a couple of hours in there, and I thought, we need to try and resolve this, you know. And I noticed as I went in, there was a jar for like, it looked like the Estonian police fund or something, you know, or like a Christmas party or something, some jar with money in it, you know. And I says, you have a party, you know, because it was near Christmas, you know. Yes, party, Christmas, yeah, you know, maybe you stay here for Christmas, you know. And I went, no, wait a minute. I says, maybe I can give you something for your Christmas party. Okay, you want to make donation? I says, yeah. So I had 500 kroon, which is massive to them, you know. I said, what will that get me? Oh, you're free man then. If you put in here and you can go. So it was as simple as that, you know. So I gave them 500 crown for their Christmas fund, you know.
Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So that was the way of it. That was
just the way of
that
how
was
it
the
was.
way
That
of
was
it.
just how it goes
It
back
was
then.
accepted, you know. You just laughed it off, you know. This is crazy, you know. You've got to know the rules here, you know. What were the rules? We were just finding out as we went, you know.
I suppose a lot of people don't really, because people come to Estonia now as like this holiday destination.
Sure, it's a long time ago, but with these gangsters, I mean, was the security originally these gangsters? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, but we needed them because it was a dangerous town. There was a mafia turf war going on, and there was more body count per head of population than New York. You know, and you driving home in a taxi or something, boom, the kiosk would go up. Somebody's wanting a kiosk, you know, so it's all lucrative. You can sell drugs from there, whatever, you know. So if you stepped outside the bar, these people were coming in with companies, and you get a few beers and you think, oh, I'll walk back to the hotel. But you say, don't walk back to the hotel. There's people waiting to pounce as soon as you get round the corner. They come over, you know, speech key. It's like cigarette in Russian, you know. And the next thing, boom, you're in the hospital, you know. Yeah. And the favourite thing was the eye drops. They were putting, if you stepped into another bar, there was a few other old bars there, you know. And you'd step in, maybe this beautiful woman come up, you're distracted. Eye drops would go in your beer, and then you're lost. You don't know where you are. There was many a person found beaten up, all their stuff taken, all their clothes taken, lying out in the street, you know. So this was a favourite trick at the time.
That still happens,
you know?
I think, the eye drop thing. I've heard of that a few times. Yeah.
So it was a real dangerous place, you know. And even you can back, I was staying with Dermot for a while, the Coca-Cola guy. And he's at the American and British embassy, were both there at the same time. And so he's took me out. He says, I need to get up at 6 a.m. I'll leave you to party. So there was some bars there, George Brown's, Karja Kelder, Eslatal, Von Kral.
Okay.
You know, there were some good places, you know. The old Hellhunt, you know. And Cafe Amigo, if you wanted the dancing, you know.
Yeah.
That's still there, isn't it?
Sure.
That's still there.
For the Finnish people, but it's
yeah.
there. I don't think an Estonian person's been there in 15 years.
So I've had a night out, and then I'm thinking, I need to get back to Dermot before he hasn't got spare keys, before he leaves for work at 6 o'clock. And of course, it's summer. You lose track of time. It's like 5 o'clock. I better hurry up and get back to Kent Manny, you know. So I jumped in the taxi. That's fine. So the taxi drivers took me, and he's took me another way, and he's he's trying to rip me off, but it's nothing. When you're talking about crowns, it's nothing. Maybe he's ripped me off another £4. No big deal. Yeah. He's phoning the wife to tell her to get the red panties on. I've skinned this guy. I've got another £4 off him. No problem. So I'm thinking he's just left me now, So I was getting annoyed with him because I knew he was skinning me. It's only £4, but it was the principle of the matter, And he's just left me. And I could see Dermot's apartment over there, but there was a huge wall and barbed wire and everything, And I thought, well, I'll just go as the crow flies, because I was just full of the drink, So I've climbed over, I've got caught in the barbed wire, and I'm down there, and there's like military trucks and other paraphernalia, nobody about. And I'm down over this other wall, barbed wire, and then another wall, and then we're in Dermot's apartment block, And so I've climbed up, and he's just leaving for work. He says, what happened to you? He says, it looks like a bear's attacked you. How did you get it? Where have you been? I says, I jumped over that wall there. There's barbed wire everywhere, I says, and all that. He says, that's the US Embassy. He says, I'm surprised nobody shot you. He says, because a bomb went off 2 weeks previous there, and injured a few people, He says, I don't believe that. He says, you've just come over in the American Embassy and out again, and nobody's done anything, And my T-shirt was all ripped to shreds. I was all covered in blood. He says, it looks like a bear's attacked you, So that was the escapades, just not giving a shit. You were just like, So we're young and fit. Who
runs Nimeta now? Do you know? Is it the same people?
There's some of the same people.
Okay.
Some of the same people. Davey, he opened the Nimega. He had Molly Malone's, a few other places. He extended himself too far. He wanted to take over Decote, like the largest disco in Europe. It would have been.
Decote.
Decote near the Wall Street here, the trade centre here. Was a massive disco.
Not of a mind here, right?
Trade centre, aye. Opposite is Decote. I don't know if it's still a disco,
Huh. Wait, the trade centre down near Yoe? Wait.
Near Rotterdam Way,
Okay.
So Narvamonte, as you go out
Narvamonte.
that way,
Yeah, okay.
the World Trade Centre's on the left as you head towards Lasnamäe, like out towards Pirita way.
Right, okay. I think
right near the
so
next to
that was that was the other big place, Decote, and then he was getting involved with a shopping centre. So he was selling the shares in the bars. So other people were stepping in,
Okay.
He was just he overextended himself and had to go home eventually,
Yeah.
Huh. But it was crazy times. It was
So how long were you the manager there at Nimeta? How long?
First 2.5 years.
Okay.
It was myself and another Scottish guy, Julian, who was just out the army.
Yeah.
So he was brilliant as well. He was just buzzing all the time, and he would try throwing up the glasses, and we'd be breaking more, but it was all part of the fun. We didn't care. People were just coming for the entertainment,
Yeah.
It was unbelievable,
So was Nimeta like trying to be like a foreign bar, like not trying to be like, looking like a typical old Estonian thing?
Well, we got one of the best artists involved, Navatrola, and he done all the painting. Like we done massive tiger stripes in the back. A picture of nuclear Tallinn after a nuclear war. He done this picture, as you walk in, and the opening day. We've got Leonard Merry coming. Okay. We've got Mark Larr coming. We've got two top artists, Navatrola and Mark Costaby, who's famous artist here, and he made a couple of figures for us. We've got all the great and the good. We've got Miss Estonia. So we have an hour to go, and we still need to varnish the bar. I said, we better just cancel this, we're not going to be ready in time. There was no furniture either. There was not one table or chair, and we have an hour to go. So Davey says, right, you hold the phone. In those days, it was the big brick phones, Nobody had the technology now, which I'm glad of, because there'll be a few things I'll be embarrassed about, So I've got the brick phone. He says, you hang on to that. I'm going to find some furniture. So it was an hour to go. So he's away. And he went to the Olympia Hotel. Okay. And he's got furniture from them. So he's phoned me. And he says, Paul, right, we've got furniture. Come to the Olympia. I says, how? He says, grab a van. I says, what do you mean, grab a van? We were really flying by the seat of our pants. We didn't have a van. So I'm looked outside. Okay, I'll leave it with you, he says. So the president's coming in an hour. We've no furniture. So I looked outside. It was Friday afternoon. There's this guy delivering saku to where the hotel is now. At the end, just before you turn and look at Hollywood, on the left side, there's a hotel also.
My City Hotel.
And that was a shop.
Yeah.
And this guy's delivering. So I've got 100 kroon in me. And I'm saying to the guy, oh, you need some help. And of course, nobody can speak English. So I'm helping him with the cases of beer. And he's like happy for that to get finished Friday night. And I says, here, 100 kroon. He went, oh. I says, please, taxi. I says, you take me Olympia Hotel. Yeah, okay. For 100 crowns, no problem. And so we're outside the Olympia Hotel. And I says, oh, he's going, Olympia Hotel. I says, round the back. Now he's getting worried. He's like, what's happening here, you know? I says, there's more money, don't worry. No. And he's like, I says, please, just go round the back. So round the back, and there's the tables and chairs all sitting out in the street, you know? All good stuff from the Olympia, you know? And next thing, there's a couple of Estonians there, and they start piling. They've got this van. Then this guy thinks he's been hijacked. He starts screaming, please, politsai. I said, somebody calm him down. Give him another 100 kroon or something. He's like losing it, you know. You robbed me. No. Your president's coming in 1 hour and you can come and, you know, it's all happening, you know. So eventually got him calmed down, got the furniture in with 20 minutes to go, you know. But we're looking at the varnish and the bar wasn't looking, the bar counter. It was modelled on a bar in Glasgow, the Horseshoe Bar, which was a circular bar. So we wanted to open up Estonians. We knew they were quite conservative and shy. So this thing was like everybody could see everybody in the bar.
Across the
which is we don't want this straight bar. Nobody can. We want everybody to.
Which is still there
which is still there to this day because it works. It's you know. So we needed another coat of varnish on this. We're like, yeah, we better do it properly. So this is still wet. So how are we going to? Leonard Mary's going to come in. He's wanting to touch the bar, and so we had the waitresses all round the bar. We put all the food on other tables and the waiters all around, but nobody was to touch the bar. They were like guarding the bars, but we didn't want a major incident with Leonard Mary getting stuck to the bar or Mark Lar getting stuck to the bar, you know. So that was it. They came in and they had a great night. They loved their whiskey, and that was a good start, you know.
Amazing. And the tables just, like, again, that's how you solved. You probably just knew a guy at Olympia.
They're still there. Some of the original tables
from
the Olympia Hotel are still there.
Never took them back.
Good stuff. You know?
So he just sort of knew, he's like, that was sort of the mindset back then of like, I know a guy, I know I can probably pay him to rent them or something.
Exactly.
If I give him some money, he'll let us take him for a while.
The whole barter thing was going on. That was it, you know, totally, you know.
Because like I'd be like, today, where are you getting tables from? What? How are you just going to the hotel?
Need a van, City B.
Yeah, to City B. And yeah, right. I guess it makes sense if he's got like, hey, I got to do this. Here's 100. Here's 500. Here's whatever it takes to just give me these tables right now.
Or not even money, like fucking chickens. You could probably pay in chickens back then, you know.
Yeah. You always had a wad, you know. It was the croon. That was the best time for money, you know. But it was all security. They all had guns. You know, this was the thing. We were told that there was a turf war still going on.
Sure, so you've got your guys.
The new guys in town, maybe somebody wants a piece of the action, and, you know. And so they say, if any trouble, leave it with us. We were having security briefings. And we'll bring out the guns. I says, people are just having a drink, you know. And the security guys used to work 24 hours, and they used to forget their guns, and I used to have to keep plying them with coffee to stay awake. And then I says, look, you're scaring the customers. Let's put them under the bar, you know. So that was it, you know.
That was the big change.
We never had any problems because that was the top guys, you know. So we never had any problems, you know.
Right, because I think I wasn't around then, and if someone wasn't living those days, you sort of just hear it from a movie or something, what it's like when the guys come. Now, if you then, so the guys come, they show you the guns. All right, we're going to do the security. If you just agree to hire them to do the security, was that basically you stayed out of trouble? And
you had a roof over your head,
right? And did they ask for too much money? Because
at the time, because we ended up, the bar was so busy.
Okay,
it meant nothing.
You had plenty of money.
We weren't sure how busy the bar was going to be, you know. And I says, well, it depends. We'll give them this much, and depends. The bar was crazy. It was absolutely busy. And what made it busy was we were like we'd beamed down from another planet.
It was just a different place.
They all came in. They were all wanting to learn English, and you know, and it was
there was no tourism.
Mixed. There was no tourism. There was no tourism. I mean, it cost me in a business flight $500 to get here. Nobody was going to, you know.
But it's this place that Estonians, one of the first places they could feel like they're in a foreign place.
Yeah, totally. And they all wanting to learn English. And then with all these Russian women every day, 4 or 5 with $1,000, please, can I marry you? They were wanting out. We go, you know.
Yeah,
See Chaz now. You know, I'm sitting there. Wait. I says, there's guys coming in after they finish work. They're all on $50 expenses. So they're handing me over the chits, write that out to the company. So I've got this stamp, and it was unheard of. I had to go to the municipal building to get more ink and more papers for these receipts. They'd never seen that before. But these guys are coming in from Coke and all the other big companies.
Sure.
And like my friend had $50 a night to spend.
That's a fortune.
A fortune, absolute fortune. So it was like, give us the chits, as long as I made sure it was the meals and all that. And I had the official stamp, you know. And it was like, get everybody in the bar a drink.
Yeah.
You can't do that now, you know. Get everybody, all these guys come in, get everybody in the bar a drink. And it was like a Miss World contest, because right across the road is the Prime Minister's house, next to the strip bar.
Of course.
So this is probably the only place in the world at the time, you know. I think it was Lonely Planet came, and I said, look at this. Where do you see that in the world? The Prime Minister's headboard is next to the strip bar. How does he get any sleep at night, you know? And I went, the girls didn't start till 6, so I went to see the girls. I says, girls, you want some free champagne, coffee, tea before you start your shift? Come on in. So I was walking into the bar. It was like a Miss World contest. Absolutely unbelievable, you know?
Smart move. I mean, get the good-looking girls in
and
there.
then the guys come in for the expenses. So already everybody's pissed. It's already party time by 7 o'clock, you know? And but the till's full of free tables. We can dish out with just cases of champagne. Here we go. Help us. We never let the mood drop. If we felt it was dipping, no. Here, have some more champagne. Whose birthday is it? They couldn't believe we were just opening champagne for non-celebrity.
Sure.
Know.
And it was just because you were keeping this up. There was so much turnover. It was becoming the place to be.
If you're having fun, you're making money.
Yeah.
That was the simple principle.
Yeah, okay.
And what's happened in Tallinn, I've seen, it's like accountants have taken over and they've took all the fun out, you know, and then they're worrying, you know, and they're all sitting at home on camera watching, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning, phoning up the bars. Why is that waitress sitting down? And, you know, all this. And wondering if they're going to make their money.
Yeah.
If you're having fun, you're making money. You don't need to worry. You can pay all the bills and do what you want, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's true now, though, is it?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, back then when the currency was
a bit different now, you know?
Worthless, you know.
Sure, there was such a gap between what your home currency compared to this here, that there was so many more people that could have this $50 a night, but that's like spending a small fortune every day.
And the old town, after having finished with the Highlander and all that, it was just like a movie set. Yeah. And it was actually, with this COVID, it's probably that's what it was like in the 90s. It was so quiet. You could walk in, you'd be on your own walking through the square, whatever, you know. That was what it was like then, you know. You felt like you owned the place, you know.
That's what it really hit me today when I drove up into Christina in the car park upstairs. Because during the lockdown, they had most of the car park was taped off.
Okay. I hadn't been up there.
But today, it was just packed. And the elevator down was packed. Half the people weren't wearing masks. The frozen yogurt place was open. People were just going around, and I was like, fuck. It's officially over.
We are back to normal again.
Because exactly a year ago, like Paul was saying, I just drove into the town hall square.
Yeah.
And I just drove around.
Right,
and I was like, fuck, man, this is so quiet. You know, but
that's what it was like. Just that was the idea.
And was there like, so this was 94, 95?
94, 95. And,
but like, if you walked around the old town back then, how many businesses were there like operating?
There was a lot of broken places. The place was crumbling.
Yeah.
Shops, the mannequin was just off to the side. There was dust in the windows. It was there to happen, you know. And you walked in.
But there would have been like Old Hands would have been open back then, and
no, I don't remember that. No. I mean, it was very few things were going.
What about on the main square? Was there anything?
A couple of bars.
All right.
And it was 10 kroon for a beer then. And it was the cheap white garden furniture that was in the square. Yeah. So you'd walk into the square and you hear this, and you didn't know if it was a gunshot or one of the garden furnitures had burst, one of the garden chairs. And usually it was one of the fins had burst. One of the fat fins had burst the chair. But it was making everybody nervous because there was bombs going off at times, in the kiosks, and so you heard this. and you didn't know if it was a chair or a gun. And it was like being transported back to the 60s. All the women were like 60s fashion. It was like Carnaby Street gone wild. And all these beautiful women just holding each other's hands, walking through the square. You get a sore neck because you thought you'd met the most beautiful woman in the world, and then there's another one, and you know, it was incredible. You know.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the loo. Do you need a loo break? I'm terrible like this. You guys can keep going.
If you want, you know.
Do you need to go to the toilet?
No.
Okay, then we're good. Cool.
Oh,
you guys keep talking.
Yeah.
I've always
Okay,
got to run to the loo.
okay.
You guys keep chatting.
Yeah, but like what was, could you? Because I know the Finns used to come, like the Finns were the first big contributors to the economy here because you know. I know that in the 90s, a load of Estonians went fuck this and they left, and so that was the back and forth with Finland. But could you just go to Latvia back then?
Yeah, we were having so much fun. We didn't even think about going anywhere else.
But could you have done it if you wanted to?
Yeah,
as in just get in the car and drive down.
I reckon so. Yeah. I believe it was all open. Yeah, there wasn't any problem. Yeah. It was all fairly open, you know.
Yeah.
Good.
I wonder what the countryside was like back then, because even like the likes of Paide or Ulustvere or any small like town, they haven't changed much since the 90s.
No.
But they have it in a way, like, you know. It's,
you see a lot of trees getting cut down now, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all forest then. It was untouched, basically, you know.
Yeah.
So,
those stories are fucking mental, Paul. Oh. It's like I often think I should have come here earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we had great fun as well in the bar. We'd, keep it going. One night, Davey went to some shop and he brought back a paddling pool. So we filled it up with water, and then we had
in the bar,
and then we had a Miss Wet T-shirt competition. You know.
Yeah.
So that was great, and the winner, there was one Estonian girl left and one Finnish girl, and we couldn't decide. And I says, okay, the first one to take their top off is the winner. And of course, the Estonian girl was too shy, and the Finnish girl just lifted hers and won. You know? But we had live radio as well on a Sunday one time. And we came in with a hangover on a Sunday, and they were like, shh, Paul, you know. The radio,
you had like a
live show on for 2 hours.
All right.
You came in the bar. Yeah. And I'm saying we had a live radio show in Nimeta one day.
Oh, really?
In the early days, yeah. And so we forgot about it, you know. I mean, we're just leaving the bar at 5 a.m, and then we're back in at 12, and the next thing there's this guy with a mic, and he's like, shh, live show, Paul. I said, what's he doing? He's trying to get the Estonians to tell some jokes. And he was having no success at all. You know, the people just so reticent in those days. No. They were just scared of everything, you know. And the guy went, well, this is not working out very well. He says, nobody wants to tell a joke. He says, maybe you can help. Somebody can help, you know, from the bar. Yeah, I says, yeah, okay. So I thought, what do I do? He says, you've got to keep it clean. So that was the hard part, you know. I says, okay, what do I know? Something simple, you know. I says, okay, what do I have if I have 500 kroon in one pocket and 500 kroon in another pocket? What do I have? And the guy went, I don't know. I had to tell him, you have to say, I don't know. You know, this is like jokes, you know. I think it was the first time the radio guy done any jokes, you know. All right, I don't know. I says, I have someone else's trousers. He's like, what? And then he's like, how you have someone else's trousers? I says, it's a joke. Why you have 500 crown and someone else's trousers? I says, come on. Free your mind, will you? It's a joke, you know. So he tried to get, you know, so it was having to explain it. This was killing. It was another 20 minutes to explain this. So he couldn't, he says, I'll try and get this. So he couldn't get the Estonians to say any jokes. He says, look, I've got half an hour. Can you do something again? I says, okay, I've got a good parachute joke. So this guy, he's doing his first parachute jump. He's done all the training, and he's very nervous, you know. So, and he's home. He's to take his parachute home and sleep with it, get familiar, and you know, and do the training routine at home before the jump. And his mother's at home, and his mother's worried about him. Oh, son, I'm worried about you. Your first parachute jump. I know you get hungry when you're nervous. He says, I'll make you sandwiches, you know. So she's made a pile of sandwiches, and he says, she's put them in the parachute, you know. Okay, there you go, you know. So he's forgot about this in the morning, you know. So he's heading for the airfield, he's on the plane. So he jumps out, And then he's falling fast to the ground, but he feels quite confident. He's got 2 parachutes, so he pulls the first cord. These cheese sandwiches fly out. And he's going, oh, shit. My mother's interfered with the parachute. She's put the sandwiches in the wrong place, So he's lost, his first jump, first cord. He said, okay, I've still got my reserve chute, no problem, So he's like falling to the ground, pulls the second. Ham sandwiches all fly out. He's going, oh, no, shit, he says. I've nothing left. And he's falling that fast to the ground, but when it happens like that, it's like in slow motion as well. If you've ever been in an accident, it's like, you're taking it in. And the next thing he's going, oh no, so this is what it's like to die. And the next thing, he sees this guy flying up in the air on this big piece of metal, And this guy's going, and so the parachute guy, he's went, maybe there's a chance. He shouts out to this guy. He says, here, mate, can you help me? He says, how can I help you? He says, do you know anything about parachutes? And the guy went, I'm really sorry, mate. I wish I could help you. He says, but maybe you can help me. He says, how can I help you? He says, do you know anything about gas cookers? You see what's going up the way? And I had to explain that. I said, how do you explain that?
Well, after 8 years, he managed to get the Estonians to get a joke.
Yeah, I was thinking about when you tell that story with the radio, because I think actually if we're wanting to assign who was doing it first, I think James Ramsden had a deal in some nights in Drink Bar. If you stood up and told a joke to the bar, you got a free shot or you got a drink. And they had that. Him and Tim Filer had that thing going on for a little while. And eventually we did the stand-up.
But we were even giving them free cases of champagne and they still wouldn't tell a joke.
Right.
And they didn't have to do anything.
I guess that's the difference. I mean,
because really...
and when what you said that about when you're in Nimeta, and it had the early days in particular, had this vibe of like, this wasn't Estonia. Yeah. This wasn't a feeling. And I remember people saying the same thing in 2007 about our comedy shows in Drink Bar. Yeah. Because then they were first all English for a while. Yeah. And it was all English. So they were either expats or like very foreign type Estonians who would live somewhere and come back. Yeah. And they said that exact thing. They felt like they were getting a little bit of...
It was like some kind of international space. It was,
just for that
something different from outside.
And then people were coming for that. And then eventually I understood eventually like, oh, actually, that's fun, but not a good way to attract more and more people. And then, okay, the obvious thing was let's get Estonian. And then Sanders doing Estonian. And then we sort of migrated over there. Yeah. You might even say this. I mean, you could still say today there is that different vibe in our shows. I mean, it's not so maybe obvious as it was before.
Well, I mean, like, nah. Like, I mean, the only show that feels like that international space thing is the Kapikai.
Okay, the English one. Sure. I guess maybe I was talking more on a meta kind of thing for just, people can come and it's a different sort of thing that they're experiencing there. But maybe that is also a... kind of like a compliment in the way, like that fades because you become part of that city all of a sudden. You aren't exotic because you've been there. You do it for enough years and you've been there. Now Nimeta isn't exotic anymore because it's become successfully integrated. And it's become successfully integrated into the culture. It's
like
normal.
What I would say, what fills that space now is the likes of like Viljandi Burger, like the food revolution that's happening in Tallinn. That's now the new thing where it's like, this feels like something new, like, we have Indian food and Thai food and, all this.
They're still getting used to the hot stuff here, the hot food.
And like, there's, the chefs of Chakra, I've beef with these boys. Every time I order a Vindaloo, I mean, a Vindaloo is supposed to be spicy, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be really hot.
In the Volt order, I put, give me Indian spice, not Estonian spice, smiley face. Winky smiley face even. They give me a
I think you got to be more straight up. You got to be, I am Irish man. I understand what you're doing. However, no.
I think I have to get into the actual culinary aspect and say, look, 2 extra tablespoons of chili powder. Right. Just extra chili powder.
That's good. Yeah. Show them you mean business. I'm not just like,
because it's just not spicy enough.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I'm drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning, it has to fucking be spicy.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Or when I'm drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning.
You need that kick, yeah.
So you did 2.5 years at Nimeta. What did you do after that?
2.5, and then I moved with Julian to the Ruby Tuesdays bar, which is on Peak Street, where Remy is.
Oh, okay. Where it
you
is
know,
now.
if you come out Monday and there's Remy.
Next to Clay Hills, where Clay
Yeah,
Hills
yeah,
pub
just
is.
next to there.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
And we took the crowd with us. And that was fun. That was great as well. That was still fun then, you know.
So that was sort of another new bar, and then
Another new bar,
thing again,
and we had. In the middle of February, we'd have a beach party for a week. We'd fill the place full of sand. The girls would take their mink coats off, and they'd be just in bikinis and all that. And they'd be like, "What's going on here in the middle of February? Minus 25 outside, and everybody's in bikinis and trunks inside." You know.
I mean, this in 96, 97, this must have been a revelation.
It was unbelievable because we had these the speed machines and all that. You know, like you were on the speedboat thing, you know. We had a couple of these, and I don't know where they all came from, but it was all, that's what it was happening, you know.
I suppose every successive job you've had in this country has been a brand new bar, right?
Nearly. And then I went to Molly Malone's. That had been open for a year
Which
already.
is Mad Murphy's now,
Which
right?
is Mad Murphy's now, you know. And then
that's the first time I ever met you, I think. You were the barman in Mad Murphy's back in like 2013.
Was it then? Yeah.
Well, you were behind the bar anyway. I don't know whether you were working there or not. But I remember, that was
And then that was about 2000, yeah. And then I went back to Scotland for a while. Then I met the Estonian guys I knew from the Nimeta, and the old Hell Hunt was shutting. I says, that's at that time as well. All the bars were like mostly English owned and all that. The Estonians were feeling a bit alienated. They didn't have their own bar. Yeah. They had a couple of bars, but they were real dumps, real dives.
They hadn't caught up yet. Okay,
they hadn't had a mainstream real Estonian bar. And that says, there's Hell Hunt. You could revamp that, keep the name, because the name's great, you know, and make that the Estonian bar where the Estonians feel at home. And that's what happened there.
That's around the start of 2000, 2001 is when Hell Hunt became the new Hell Hunt or whatever, and that's
2000.
Wow, and that's the place, okay, because it was all the foreigners.
So that was then, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, right. I imagine you guys must have been thinking about it then, like how to do this. How can you? Okay, advice to them. Here's the scene right now.
Yeah, so no problem. And then the very first day, I says, it will be a hit. These guys were all kind of in politics and all that, and they got a cheap rent, and that was good. And I says, we'll see. The first day, they were queuing outside. We made the rent on the first day. That's when you know you're laughing.
Yeah, okay.
So we've got another, it's a long month this month, we've got another 30 days to go. We've made the rent money already. Yeah. What else, you know?
So you're involved with the Hell Hunt as well?
I was involved with the Hell Hunt,
okay,
you know?
with that,
just managing it, setting it up, and you know.
Sure, because by this stage, I mean, you know what's up. You know
I know what works.
Yeah,
you know?
what works and what doesn't.
And,
are you already by... like how to say, okay, let's say the turn of 2000, right? So around this 2000, 2001, this era, are you already seeing this sort of change in compared to the 94?
Yeah, it's getting tougher, you know.
Tougher?
It's getting tougher. And there was a dip. There was a kind of recession as well after that. And the money was hard to come by. There was shops closing, and there was this kind of little recession.
That was 2004.
2004,
yeah, that.
2005, you know.
Because I remember when I was first here, 2006, it was a great time to buy a car because that recession had happened and everyone's expensive Mercedes that they're living in a Khrushchevsky apartment but driving a Mercedes, and they all got repoed. So you could just go to the car yard there and it's just AMG, the top of the, better cars than you would see in just Germany were all there, and they'd all been bought by Swedbank and then repossessed. So okay, you're talking about the start of that. You know, when you start to see the first dip there. I mean, by then, let's say by 2000, is it still mobsters running the security in the same way?
No, they're in the background now. They've legitimized themselves, and
so it's a proper security company now.
You can set up a bar now, G4S or whatever. You're not going to get any hassle.
But back in 2000, he means like
that's what I mean. In 2000,
then was okay. You could be okay about it. Yeah,
sure. Because there was less turf wars by then.
There was everyone had calmed down. Everyone had calmed down. You know,
and
they were all happy with what they had, and everyone was fine.
Okay, so by that time, all right, it was like hiring a security company, even if it was the same blokes.
Even the same blokes
who might have been, but
then you had peace. You knew they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
you know?
It's true. Yeah, you've been dealing with them for a while, I guess.
Yeah, so it was no problem. You know.
Okay.
Because the police were useless because. Even I've stayed at quite a number of places in Tallinn, Lasnamäe, Mustamäe, all over the place. And I was staying in Mustamäe one time, and I can look onto Caddica Market. And this was when I was in Nimeta still. And I've got the home phone. And this the guy from the Danish embassy's phoned me. And he says, Paul, are you looking out the window? The tourist bus were taking the Finns from the port to the Caddica Market. The Caddica Market, you could get Kalashnikovs under the counter. You could get the night sight binoculars, which were very popular. All the Russians made some good weaponry, you know. And
all that shit's filtering down through here. Yeah,
but the market, you could get anything at all in the Caddica Market. If you wanted a Kalashnikov, it was there. But so everybody's robbing still, you know. And the Danish guy's phoning me. He says, look at the bus. He says, there's people holding the Finns back. He says, and they're robbing them. Can you see them robbing them? And shall I call the police? I says, look to your left, I says. And I says, what's there? Oh, my God. He says, the police car's there. I says, do you think they're bothered? I says, they're seeing this. They're waiting for the kickback. So he says, what? I can't believe this. He says, So this team would get on and they would push back the Finns. Everybody's trying to pile on the one bus and there's not enough room. And meanwhile, so the Finns are drunk and they're getting pushed back and they're getting their pockets dipped.
Yeah.
And that's going back to another guy. And if MD, whoa, the guy's done a flyer into the housing scheme, you know. So I says, watch when the bus leaves. So the bus left, and then these guys emerged again and went to the police car and gave them their cut.
Yeah.
He says, I says, there's nothing you can do.
Just how it was. Tim, that would have been great. We would have had Kalashnikovs
Jesus
back
Christ,
Yeah,
Lewis.
yeah.
If I
I wish I had a Kalashnikov now.
if I had lived in Estonia in the late 90s to the early 2000s, but I'm myself now. Oh my goodness.
Emperor Timothy.
Oh, literally, yeah.
Emperor.
Oh,
we would have had guns. We'd have a little farm. We could just be firing AKs on the farm.
We would like these
Anytime
chairs
we
will
want.
be made of guns. You know what I mean? We'd just be sitting on thrones of guns.
Guns podcast with Tim and Lewis.
Yeah,
That's all it is every day. Shooting
It's a shame I
Kalashnikovs.
messed up the plans today. I was looking forward to the shooting range, you know. But we'll do it another time.
Still plenty of
Another
time.
you know. But I still have an unbeaten record here, and it's qualified by the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah?
Was here in Tallinn when we had the Nimeta as well, and Coca-Cola and Guinness got together. We had a sports day, and all the records were official for Estonia. And keepy uppy. We even had a pool table in the main square. Everything was the main square.
Yeah.
But it couldn't quite get it level. The balls were rolling. We'd keepy uppy with other different events. We had the Yard of Ale competition. One American guy won that. And
Have you ever done a yard of ale?
Yard of ale.
A yard of ale, this
A
big
yard
glass.
is a big amount of liquid.
you've seen this big glass thing.
Yeah, okay.
With the circle at the
So
bottom.
it's several litres.
They were saying they should open the pubs because that would have been the best thing for COVID. You keep your distance.
Yeah,
A yard of ale is
yard
is
of ale, so a yard of beer, a yard, and yard's a couple of litres at least. Like how many is in this? What do you reckon?
There's your 2 meter distance.
It's a yard.
A yard,
It's
yeah. I'm
yard
trying
of ale.
to help the poor Estonians
It's
who
like-
might be.
It's
I don't know, like
it's
a
a
meter,
lot of beer.
meter
It's
and
a
half?
lot of fuck ton of
It's
beer.
actually a lot of beer. You've got to keep turning it, and it all comes at once. That's the thing. You end up
Yeah, because
spilling on you.
there's,
you
'cause
know?
there's a ball at the bottom, and beer gets trapped, and then when the air gets in, it goes right. So you got to take a big gulp at the end.
There's a technique to it. You know, it's
bet.
very tricky. You know,
I tried it once, and I puked my guts up. straight away.
and I don't know how many. I never checked that fact. I don't know how many pints it is, but it's about 3 pints or something, or maybe more. It's quite
It's
a
more
lot
than
to.
3. It's like 5
More.
pints. I
It's
think.
quite a lot to take. You know.
Yeah.
So I set the Estonian record for the 50-meter dash. This is all in the Reikoplatz. 50-meter dash with 12 pints of Guinness. Right? So I'm watching the Estonians, and we were kind of organised the event as well, and I thought, because I'd done the running and everything, and I'm watching the Estonians, and that's it. This is the best result so far. This Estonian had done 21.2 seconds or something. 50-meter dash with a Guinness, and holding the Guinness. But if any spillage is counted as well, as seconds against you, you know, if you spill any on the tray. So I thought, okay, I says, let me have a shot. So I says, okay, I says, you have to hold the trays like this, because it's quite unsteady on the cobbles, you know? A 50-meter dash, because you have a turn. It's 25 metres and then you had a turn, you know? So, you can put it on your head if you want, do what you want, you know? So I being a smart ass, I put the one tray here and another on top of it.
Okay,
So it was
on top,
quite
yeah.
compact. And I knew I could run, you know? North of Scotland champion, no problem. The running wasn't the problem, you know? It was trying not to spill any Guinness. And I done the dash, 25 metres, turn, nearly slipped because already people had spilled Guinness there, you know? And I'm like last, and I went, nearly went, turned, and made it back in 12.2 seconds.
Oh,
Whoa.
Just about half the Estonian record, and the crowd was going crazy. The place was mobbed. The crowd was going mental. Unbelievable. They'd never seen this. They were just like, that's how it's done, So I got the official from the Guinness records. I'm the fastest barman in Estonia. 12.2 seconds with 12 pints of Guinness.
Fuck no. Jesus Christ.
So that made them all even come to the bar even more. What is this? We've got a champion here,
So in the early days, when you've told a whole bunch of stories about you've got 100 crowns and that's not a significant amount to you, but it was still a lot. So there's that disparity.
Yeah.
And okay, obviously over time that disparity gets smaller and smaller, but it's still there for quite a while. Yeah. But how are you getting paid? Because the bar's turning over crowns. So you're getting paid crowns.
Getting paid in crowns.
You're not here for the money.
Yeah. Oh well.
Or how did it go?
I was getting paid in crowns, and I didn't even have to. We were so blasé with the money. I mean, it was just ridiculous. A lot of us lost the plot, and because I was in a good salary, I was at 10,000 crown.
Okay.
A month.
Right. Okay.
But I hardly had to spend that because I was living in the bar.
Sure. Yeah.
I stepped out for fresh air one time and I realised I'd been nearly 2 weeks in the bar. We had downstairs, we had a bed and a sauna downstairs.
Yeah, so you could just live.
And I went, and I never had this, what's this, agoraphobia or something? Not agoraphobia, but claustrophobia. I stepped outside and I went, what's wrong with me? I realised I hadn't had fresh air for, and everything was in the bar. Yeah. I didn't have to go anywhere with a good kitchen in the bar, all the women drink, whatever,
Sure, what more do you want?
What more do you want? Life went on that way, It was becoming bizarre. By that stage, it was becoming a bit bizarre that you're not stepping out the bar for nearly 2 weeks.
Right, because that's all it is, right? Yeah. It's like the same thing. I think it's like when backpackers or something just work at the hostel or something. And it's the same thing. They're working at the hostel, living at the hostel. That's their whole life.
Don't realise one day merges into the next.
Yeah, and you're having the parties and there's new people coming through every night and there's girls here and there and there's booze and I bet that's, not a totally bad way to lose a few. How old are you by this stage? You're in your 20s?
No, I was like 32, 33.
Okay, all right, all right. Still not bad.
I started late, but I made up for it,
Yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah.
It is, because there's always those years, because I remember even the first years of Comedy Estonia was just parties, because it isn't. Yeah, you don't think talking about how now it's all business and now it's all serious and all that. At first, you don't think that it is. It's just a laugh. It is just the good times. It is that.
I mean, when I started, that's the way it was. Still,
just a
laugh.
It was
a little bit of business, but it was still just fucking hanging out and
right. And then eventually, all things
get serious.
Yeah.
Then it gets serious after a while.
Yeah. Well, it has to, I guess.
I get your business side to get serious. Society moves on.
Yeah.
What are you gonna? Are you like this lifestyle that you said you had, the hazy thing where living in this bubble? That's awesome, but that can't be the whole life for years and years.
No.
After a while, one's got to step out.
Yeah. And it is reality check was going back to Scotland for a while, and it's you're back with nothing, and
there's no parties, there's no nothing.
Why did you go back to Scotland?
I just needed a break, really. You knew it was, just
wild,
to touch base again.
It
was just you haven't seen family for years, so you've got to, you've got to check in, and
So you had been in Estonia for
it was mostly like 4 years at a stretch, and then I would take a time out,
crazy,
Sure.
But we realised how, we were living like kings in Tallinn, and it was only when Scotland had to replay their game against Estonia in Monaco. Scotland, the reason the Scottish guys were left was in '93, Estonia had its independence, so it was paired with Scotland in the World Cup group.
Huh.
So that's how David Coots and the other guys came, and they stayed. And actually, Estonian football was in its infancy, because it was mostly just the Russians that played the football, but now Estonians, and they didn't. They got donations for new strips and everything from the Scottish Football Association.
Right.
So this is how they're very friendly.
That first game.
Very friendly with the Scottish, And there was these rock summers before even independence where Simple Minds had been over, Big Country had been over.
Oh.
They were massive, Big Country.
Yeah.
And Marillion, Fish from Marillion, they'd all been over in rock summer. So, so we're in good terms. And then Scotland played Estonia again in '96. And that was the game that never happened, where there was the under-21 game the night before. And Scotland had complained about the lights. Estonian floodlights weren't so good. This was in Cadriorg at the time. This was
Right,
the
okay,
game,
in that
stadium. And so they put in a complaint to the UEFA, and they says, okay, so we'll switch the game in the morning from 7:30 to 3 o'clock. But the Estonians said, we're not coming. They were out in the country. We're not coming because some of us are working. We're part-time footballers. Some of us can't finish work on time, you know. The game so they didn't come. So Scotland kicked off on their own, you know. And then they got awarded luckily they didn't go up to try and score because the referee just blew the whistle and stopped the game. But that was the game over, and they got awarded the game 3-0. So there was thousands of Scottish fans. And they'd already taken, the toy train that goes round Tallinn. I think the guy retired, the original guy, because these guys took the train. It's not supposed to go out in the main street. They took the train from the old town to Cadriorg on the main Narva Monte. And I think they paid enough to the guy that he could retire. It was Prunes then,
after that.
So, and they were on top of the train. It was like something from India, you know. And then they were all singing, only one team in Tallinn. One team in Tallinn, because Estonia didn't turn up, you know.
One team in Tallinn. Yeah.
So that was it, and they thought that was all done. And then the next thing, the Estonians complained. They says, well, people are working, we can't make 3 o'clock. 7:30 was the time. And you only changed the one. So UEFA decided again, okay, it wasn't fair. So you now have to replay the game in February to keep up with the schedules. But you can't play here in February because it was minus 25, you know. And I seem to remember really minus 30 here and extremes of weather we don't see now. It's all wet winters here now, you know. And so we thought we're going to Monaco. So what happened was Saku were the only boys in town at the time. But Alacoque came in. And Alacoque offered us a free minibus for a year. If we just fly the Alacoque banner at the Monaco Stadium, they'll pay for 4 people to stay a week in Nice in a 4-star hotel, all flights, all hotel, everything paid. So Alacoque were in, Saku were out for the bar, you know?
Oh, okay.
For the bar.
So
we changed the Saku taps to Alacoque.
Alacoque, yeah.
And got all the benefits from Alacoque. So myself and Davey were going. We'd booked a trip in February. So I said, but we'll have a big prize draw we'll take 2 Estonians with us. So we had this prize draw. If you buy so many beers, we'll give you a ticket for the prize draw. And this was over a couple of months. And then we had a massive prize draw who was coming to Monaco with us. And we picked 2 Estonian guys. And they were just like, they'll never forget it, you know. We're coming for free to Monaco for a week, you know. So that made it, you know. But then the reality kicked in. I says, well, we're stepping out. Monaco's 50 francs or £5 a beer at that time, you know. Yeah. And we're coming with croons mean nothing in Monaco. So how are we going to do this, you know? We can only take so much alcohol with us, you know? How do we, you know? So we decided to make, it was like 500 T-shirts. And they were good quality, the Fruit of the Loom. Okay, that's made in Donegal, the Fruit of the Loom brand.
Yeah.
Good quality. But the thing was, when we looking for a slogan, and we couldn't think of a slogan for the T-shirt, but we put the Scotland manager's face on, Craig Brown. And then we're all in the bar. And this guy is going to print the T-shirts. We're leaving at 7:30 in the morning to go to Monaco from Tallinn. And we still haven't got again, flying by our pants, we still haven't got the T-shirts printed. So this guy's in the bar with us. Please, hurry up. I need, what do you want in the T-shirts? Oh, have a drink. We were all thinking. So we get drunk, and eventually we just put something biblical in Craig Brown's face. And Craig said, let there be light, because of the lights. And there was, and it was good. Yeah. And we printed all that. And the guy rushed off to the printers, and he worked through the night. He met us in Tallinn airport with 500 T-shirts all printed. We're fantastic, you know. Yeah. So that was us. And this is the great days of flying. So this is us pissed, just carrying a box of T-shirts on. Nobody's saying anything. And compared to today, you can't even fly today, you know. Yeah. So the next thing, we're landing in Nice like it's nothing. And hit with the sun, we're leaving minus 20 here to plus 20, you know. We're blinded as we get into Nice. Then the next thing, the Nice security come over. Oh, what is this? I'm beginning to sound Russian now. What is the box? What's the box? I says, oh, wait a minute. You look like a big fella. XXL, Davey. See if you get an XXL there. So we're pulling out the T-shirts. I says, here, try that on. I says, a big football match. What football match? In Monaco, it's not really, you know, they're not big football fans, you know. They've got a fancy stadium, but it's near empty all the time, you know. And, Scotland against Estonia. Oh, oh yes, this is very good, and give one to my friend. So we handed out a few T-shirts to the Nice security, and they went, oh, on you go through. It was as simple as that, you know. So this was us in Nice, getting familiarised. Yeah. And then we went to where they start the Grand Prix in Nice. And we're like, we need to sell these, a wonderful sale. All the Scotland fans were all coming in. And they're like, what's that? Oh, have you got any of these T-shirts? Yeah. So every T-shirt was a beer for us. So we sold out the first day. In about 2.5 hours, we'd sold the 500 T-shirts.
500 shirts.
All the fans were like, yeah, give us one of those. So that was us. We'd tons of money for beer.
500 beers.
No problem. 500 beers.
Because, of course, the guy in Estonia printed them for shit cheap for you.
Yeah.
So
50 francs or a fiver, whatever they wanted to give us. And that was us beer money. That was it was fantastic. So the next thing, we're up in Monaco, in the training ground. And my two friends are playing in the Scotland team. I'm shouting, Duncan Shearer and John. I'm shouting over to them, but they're busy. And Craig Brown came over. And the thing was, we'd showed Craig Brown around Tallinn. He was on a recce in Tallinn before they played the game, because one guy came in with a programme into the Nimeta, and he says, I see your football boss today. I says, where? He says, he's handing the prizes out in the mini tournament, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania 5-a-side tournament, and Craig Brown, the Scotland, was handing the prizes out. I says, when? He says, today. So I went, Craig Brown's in town, so he doesn't know that we're here. So I thought, wonder where he is. There's only two places, really. He wouldn't go to the Viru Hotel. The only other hotels were the Palace Hotel and the Olympia. Were the only two safe places, you know. So I said, I'll try the Olympia. So I phoned the Olympia Hotel. I said, can I speak? I hear this. Can I speak to Craig Brown, please? I think he's a guest of yours. And normally the receptionist would say, who are you and what? Yeah. All I heard was this click. The next thing, a Scottish voice. Hi, who's this? I hope it's not a bloody reporter. Hope it's not another bloody reporter. I hated the reporters, you know. And I went, no, Craig, wait a minute. I says, we've got a bar here in Tallinn. I didn't know you were here. He says, you have? Whereabouts? I said, just jump in a taxi and we'll show you around. I says, Nimeta Baar, just jump in a taxi. So he came round to the bar. So we had a great night with him, showing him about. And he was amazed. He says, I'll need to keep these players under lock and key here. He says, this is unbelievable, you know, when the game happened.
Oh, if he keeps them in the bar, then they're all right.
Keep them in the Olympia, you know.
Yeah, in the Olympia. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
is there video footage of this game where Scotland just kicked off?
There is, because it was the first thing in BBC News that night. Unbelievable.
Yeah, okay.
First thing on BBC News, so it's in the BBC archives. I can give you the dates later.
No,
96,
I'll find it,
whatever, you know.
I'll find it,
And so that we'd showed him about and give him a good. He says, if you're going to Monaco, I said, we're going to Monaco free because of Alacoque. He says, if you need tickets, guys, just, you know, see me in Monaco. So we're up there at the training ground. Craig Brown, oh, good to see you guys, you know. And then he's going, oh, do you need any tickets, guys? And I says, no, Alacoque's paid for that as well. We're in the expensive seats. Well, yeah. And he looks at the T-shirt. He went, is that my face? I says, aye, have a look. And he went, normally people ask when, you know, what are you printing my face on T-shirts for? I says, there's 500 of these printed, Craig, you know, I hope you like it. And he had a read. I says, have a read. And you know, let there be light, and there was, and it was good. He says, that's good. He says, no problem. That's no problem.
Quote was all right.
I says, that's actually our beer money, you know, or we're stuck otherwise, you know.
Thought he was going to come asking for his cut or something. What's his commission?
Yeah.
So from the wild days of Estonia back in the day, what do you make of how things are now in comparison?
It's mind-blowing.
It's probably a different fucking country.
It's completely different. It really is, you know. And it's great, you know, and everybody's...
It's great, but you miss the old days as well, don't you?
You miss that, you know. You miss a bit of danger, you know. You didn't know what was going to happen the next day. This is the thing, you know. And like I'm saying, we're flying by the seat of our pants every day, you know, with furniture and this, and you know.
Was it like that? It was probably like that for you a little bit too, right?
A bit, but I found that every reasonable foreigner wishes that they were here earlier.
Yeah.
I always, Stuart was here longer. Stuart always looks at the person, you've been here pretty much, you know, it's harder to get longer than, there's probably been a couple, but not so many that have been around longer than you. We all wish we'd seen a bit more. I don't know, we'd all wish.
Bought land, bought a house.
Yeah, I wonder, does the places like that still exist in the world? Maybe there is. Maybe there's some, like, you know what I mean?
Difficult.
Like,
no,
it's difficult to find that kind of thing because Estonia was,
Especially in Europe.
Europe, a 500-pound flight, okay, fine, but not that far from Europe. Where you got to go now? I don't know, some Russian republic or something.
Albania or Romania or
probably,
something that are still kind of stuck, you know?
Yeah.
That would be all you could think of, really, you know?
I mean, I was in Georgia in 2006. I was in Georgia down there. I mean, that was pretty legit. That was fun.
Yeah.
You know, legit back then, even in 2006. So maybe you just kind of got to keep going. We're sitting here going, oh.
Because, like, if you go to... Because there are places that are still fairly lawless, but you'll get your head cut off, you know? You go to South America or, you know, some dodgy Muslim Asian country, you know?
Right.
Flash the cash and you're just going to lose your fucking...
Where hasn't some English, Australian, American cunt gone and set up a bar?
Exactly.
Where?
I love the idea that it was a group of Scots that built the pub culture of Tallinn. Why couldn't you been Irish?
It had to be. Well, we're connected. We're all Celts, you know. There's no. I would take nothing off the Irish, you know.
True. Do you like... Because see, when you said like when you came here for 4 years and then you went back, like I couldn't imagine myself being away for as long as I have been from Ireland.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional with me either, and it just the days go by, the weeks go by. You're having so much fun, you forget about everything else.
But see, I'm listening to your accent and I'm like, fucking hell, how has he not? Like,
my accent stayed.
Back in '94, like I reckon. Even if the Estonians had fluent English, they wouldn't have understood a word.
Well, it was a problem. I had to really slow down. I'm speaking. I'm back to the vernacular with you guys today. I'm nearly at full speed. You know, I need to get faster. If I land back in Scotland, I need to speed up. You know, otherwise they think I'm in a car accident or something. Paul, why are you speaking so slow?
He's to hang out with Tambit.
Okay.
Well, and I was teaching the girls were coming in the bar. I was teaching them English. There was ones at school. I didn't realise, but at school, everybody's dolled up around the bar, and these Russian women want to give me $1,000 to marry them. And I said, like, wait, there's other guys coming in. I'll introduce you.
They'll marry.
Oh, they wanted to pay you.
They wanted to pay me.
Oh, I misheard. I thought like
waving $1,000. You know, this was every day. I was like, no. I said, why would I want to leave? I'm here. You know. I've got the whole library. I've not just got the books. One book. I've got the whole library here. You know.
I don't need one book.
And I was teaching them English, and they come back with their diplomas. I says, "Oh, you all passed. How'd you go on? It was exam." Yeah. He says, "But our teacher said to us when we were doing the oral test." He says, it's very funny, you're very good English, but you're all speaking with Scottish accents now. The Estonian teacher had noted.
Spending too much time in the bar.
In the bar. And who's teaching you that? And they went, the guy in the bar. I said, we're going to get this irate teacher coming. What's my pupils doing in the bar, you know? It was just so free and easy, you know?
Should we wrap it up?
Sure. Yeah. It's been great. God, I like hearing these stories. And so now it's the simple.
Jesus, the stories are.
Now it's the simple life for you, Paul. Living outside of Viljandi there, you got a little farm, growing some veggies.
Time to reflect, you know, in the greenhouse.
He brought me potatoes today. I'm gonna make
just in time. You know?
Mashed potato, boy.
I mean, I thought that'd be like bringing watermelon to a black person, bringing a potato to an Irish guy. But okay, it's not
watermelon
racist.
Shit. To all black people, ditch the watermelon. Keep the chicken though.
It's too early for watermelons yet. You know?
Yeah.
But the potato to the Irish guy is totally legit. We could do that.
Well, because like in this part of the world, Latvia are the joke, the potato joke. You know, whereas Irish people, give me more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I heard it's going to be a good summer in Ireland. Especially in Kerry, because the dolphins have come back. That's usually a sign.
The dolphins?
The dolphins come back to Dingle and Kerry.
No, he died. Fungi died.
Oh, did he?
Fungi died, yeah. Well, he disappeared. So just to brief you on this, Lewis, there's this famous dolphin who lives in Dingle Bay in Kerry, right? He's been there for 23 years. I assume dolphins didn't live that long, but they do. So the rumor was that, like, you know, they were replacing it with a new dolphin every year. But no, it's this legendary dolphin called Fungi, who is the world's, like, dolphologists or whatever are, like, shocked by how friendly he is with humans. And last year he disappeared. And he never
that was a problem. He was too friendly. They were saying, don't go in because he'll have sex with you. He was having sex with the people that were diving in.
Right.
Was it?
Yeah.
Dolphins do that. They get a little
bit frisky.
There's documented scientific
They're
stuff
like
about
Caleb's dog with you.
Right, trying to hump you. But no, people have their, like, it was like back in the 60s and the 70s when everything was on, right? And it was like there's real scientific experiments done of having intimate relationships with dolphins.
Fuck.
So
What websites do you be browsing? Jesus Christ.
But I like the idea of what you just said, that there's a conspiracy theory that the dolphin keeps getting replaced.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah.
Like the local government is capable of that. Like that there's a local authority in Ireland.
They're called the Healy Rays. There's a family, there's a mafia politician family in Kerry who run the county.
And that they can get dolphins. They can just get a new dolphin shipped
Like literally bring on another one.
Another dolphin.
Such a huge attraction. It was
Massive,
worldwide, you know.
yeah. And Dingle is the #1 tourist town in Ireland, and no small part of that is because of this dolphin.
Yeah.
Okay, now
So he disappeared last year. He's dead. And like 10 boating companies have collapsed. Because there's no more tours.
Yeah, no one wants to come because we know he's...
No one wants to come.
I would have thought the Irish spun a little tale. Like, oh, he's out there. Oh, we just have to... Like, it's the Northern Lights. It's not guaranteed anymore.
It was
get the boat trips out, you know.
It was huge news. It was in Posty Maze, for fuck's sake. I saw it there and I was like, what?
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
That he died. That he was gone.
That they couldn't find him. Like they sent out like the army diving teams to try and find him. That's how valuable this fucking dolphin was.
Okay.
So the economy.
It's like Loch
I'll
Ness.
have to go down and drink and.
We've managed to keep that going. Loch Ness.
Exactly.
This is Loch Ness dolphin.
Where's the proof? But it's a huge industry. You know.
Deary me. Well, all right, Paul. Thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Good to hear the
Pleasure.
stories, mate.
You know?
It was nice.
And there's plenty more for another time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it
Fuck
again
yeah.
one time. We need the late night session or something when we get tanked and then really get on it.
You don't have that
Need
dolphin
more time.
attraction in Australia, you know. But I heard there was my friend was out there in Brisbane.
Okay.
And he says there's this safari park in Brisbane. So everybody's driving in, the lions and all that are roaming about. He says, but they have a sign outside saying Englishmen and bicycles allowed in free.
Fuck the palms.
The old ones are the best.
Fuck the pubs. That's something we can all agree on. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers for coming on.
Great.
Indie
Pleasure.
Ref 2, Indie Ref 2, Indie Ref 2.